Stephanie Otey, awesome, will join us next.
This is the Dan Dakich Show on Indy Sports Tickets, 1430 AM, 99.5 HD2, and always on the Indy Sports Ticket app. Here's Dan.
You know, I am all in on Indiana football. I'm not sure about Purdue, but I am all in on Indiana football, and I want Indiana football to be good because I want to go down there and make an idiot of myself and have a good time. Stephanie Otey covers all of the Big Ten, mostly Ohio State, though, for Big Ten Network. She has been the Mavericks sideline host, basically the hostess with the mostess on Fox Sports and a bunch of other places. All right, you were at Media Day for the Big Ten, so here's the question. Ohio State and everyone else, or is the feeling like Michigan's going to be good, Oregon's going to come in and be good, but was the feeling that Ohio State's better than everybody?
Yeah, I mean, certainly when you walk into Big Ten Media Days and you see Ryan Day walk in, all eyes are on head coach of Ohio State. But, yeah, you said it. Oregon and Michigan are names that are going to be mentioned a lot this season. Michigan always when you're talking about Ohio State. But really, throughout Media Days with Ohio State in particular, that Oregon game is really circled earlier on their schedule. They're going across the country. They're going down there and having to play a very talented roster. I mean, they've really put together a great team. They have the Heisman frontrunner right now as the favorite on most sports books at QB. So that's the one that's circled highly up there for the Buckeyes. Michigan, you know, they're only returning 23% of their offensive production from last season. It's not looking as great for Michigan this year. It's always a game that the players are wanting to get that pair of gold pants for as a Buckeye. Many veterans returned for that. But right now, yeah, there was a lot of focus on Oregon and how talented that roster is and how tough it will be to get a win out there.
All right, so actually I made a mistake. The number one team is Indiana, correct? Is that the vibe? Tell me, is that the vibe? Come on.
Well, I got to admit, when we're out there, not many of the media members are talking them too much. It was scattered across 3 days, and as you mentioned, my focus was on Ohio State. But yeah, I mean, we got to hear the commissioner speak and mention the teams that are coming in, the extended playoff, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't hear the Hoosiers in there too much.
That's crap. I hate media. I hate you guys in the media. That's just crap. Our coach is telling everybody he wins big. Our coach is telling everybody that Google him. But I do got to ask you, so, you know, you cover him, and I like Ryan Day. I've known Ryan Day. I think he's a great dude, but this is a hell of – there's a lot of heat on Ryan Day, right? I mean, is the vibe in Columbus that he could lose his job if he doesn't beat Michigan?
I pulled him aside, and I told him, I personally think as a Columbus native and as someone that covers Ohio State, I think it's the hardest coaching job in all of college football. I mean, you get a lot of Alabama under Nick Saban. It's still Nick Saban. They're not going to give him too much hate there. But at Ohio State, I mean, especially when you're 39-3 in conference play, 56-8 overall, you make it to the Final Four in the playoffs, but it's that one team you have to get past in Michigan, and not to mention they are the defending national champions, and they have come so close in recent years. You know, just 1 point against Georgia in that Peach Bowl, and then they were down 6, and then McCord gets picked off late into that rivalry game, and then they go on to win the national championship. So when you're that close, you can taste it. I would say for fans, there's always heat on the coach of Ohio State. We haven't seen a coach lose this much to that team in particular since Coach Cooper in the 90s. You had Tressel and you had Urban Meyer, who was undefeated. I know he's a buddy of both of ours, but those are hard shoes to fill. And when you have this much talent on your team, they're saying arguably the top talented team in the college football, you have to get a win. And right now, for the Buckeyes, for all of those guys that are returning, it's natty or bust. I mean, if you don't win the big one, yeah, it's going to be detrimental.
Do you think, as Stephanie Otey joins us, do you think that Ohio State, because whenever I talk to Urban, it's like he's fanatical about it, right? I mean, even now he's nuts on it, and Shelley is, and everybody else. Do you think that Ohio State takes it as a bigger game than Michigan, or is that just you being an Ohio State girl, me knowing Urban, that kind of thing?
I mean, that game is significant. The Michigan game has been basically a playoff game in recent years. It could look different this year with the amount of talent Michigan has lost, but You have an extended game playoff, and not to mention in the Big Ten, they removed divisions. So now the championship, it's going to be the best two teams. It's not going to be the weaker West Side champion and then, the big guys in the East. You got to play 1 and 2, and Ohio State is favorited to win that one too. It could be Oregon, it could be Michigan they face, but now you may have to face that team twice. And for Ryan Day, he hasn't had a win over them just that first year, and that was with Urban Meyer's guys. So these players, they're dying to get a pair of gold pants. They don't want to leave Ohio State without a win over their rival. I mean, that game is mentioned more and more with these players, but now with you look at the talent, I mean, they have 12 guys returning, and that was a big conversation with Ryan Day, is that they came back for a purpose. They genuinely believe in the talent they have. I mean, they have all the ability to win it, and now it's like you got to go get it. They come so close. Now is the time to take it home, and to get there, yes, you have to pass Michigan.
How big a deal is Chip Kelly leaving UCLA and going to be the offensive coordinator of Ohio State? Is that a big deal?
Oh, yeah. That was definitely spoken about a lot. Ryan Day said he trusts his life in Chip's hands, and the players have the utmost trust in Ryan Day. And so when they see him, I mean, it's hard. It's like turning over your baby. Ryan Day is an offensive mind, and he's very skilled at it, but it's a testament to how much he trusts Chip Kelly. He spoke about how close the relationship is. They have experience. He played for him, and an assistant. He coached with him for the 49ers in the NFL. And so now, you see a head coach taking a job as an offensive coordinator, and then not only do you do that, you go to a different conference, but then that team that you just had coached for is joining your conference. So that is an interesting element to it too. I know the UCLA team, they sung his praises. They said they understand why he would be going to Ohio State. It is odd to see him go from a head coach to offensive coordinator, but when you see what he can do, we're going to see some changes there. You see Will Howard, a transfer quarterback from Kansas State. The talk about quarterback, which Ryan Day has not named the starter just yet, but you can predict it would be Will Howard. They want a running quarterback. They want a dual threat, and that is something Chip Kelly can definitely make some changes at. We can potentially see this becoming a top rushing offensive team. There's a lot of pressure on the quarterback in recent years, but under Chip Kelly, they can alleviate some of that and really rely on some of their weapons and in that backfield as well.
And it's going to be a lot of fun. I still think Indiana's going to finish higher than 17th, but what the hell do I know? All right. Appreciate you coming on, Stephanie. Hope you'll come back once we get going into football season.
Definitely. It'll be a fun football season, a lot of changes and an extended playoff. We can't argue when we get more games. But it was great joining you. Thanks for having me on. Anytime.
And I'm sorry I missed your text. I have a bunch of people in my house for like 10 straight days, and I'm just kind of catching up. I literally had friends of mine in last week. Another couple came in this week, so I missed a lot. But thanks for sending me a text. Next time.
Yes, definitely. I came into Indianapolis early. I got some NASCAR in, got some family time in, and then we hit up Big Ten Media Days. So it was a fun-filled week in Indy.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
Yes, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You got it. That's Stephanie Otey, Big Ten Network, Ohio State, and a bunch of other great stuff. She's terrific.
This is the Dan Dakich Show on Indy Sports Tickets, 1430 AM, 99.5 HD2, and always on the Indy Sports Ticket app.